Hello everybody, my name is Ramya and I have around 10 years of experience in IT industry as QA. And today we're going to speak about all about Agile and what is the role of QA in Agile, right? So, yes. So please stay tuned. I'm going to tell you from my entire experience how QA fits into Agile, right? So let's begin. Yes, Scrum team. We'll be hearing about this, right? Scrum team in Agile. So what is the Scrum team all about, friends? First of all, I'm speaking about Agile, but then what is the Scrum, right? We'll see that. First of all, I'll tell you what is Scrum and all those things. Now, for now, understand Scrum team consists of Scrum Master, the person who drives the team, and then Product Manager, also called as Product Owner. These two are interchangeable terms. And then the development team. So this is what our Scrum team is all about. But wait, hey, where is QA team? I was telling this video is all about Agile and the role of QA in Agile. But where is QA? Right? This was my reaction, friends. To be very honest with you, this was the question I asked my manager way back when I was a junior tester, right? Where is QA in Agile? Right? But friends, let me tell you something. Ingredients of a Scrum team. As I told, Scrum Master, Product Manager, and the development team is nothing but developers, QAs, and deployment engineers. Everybody put together is called as development team. See, Agile is all about collaboration, friends. Put it into your subconscious mind today. Agile is all about collaboration. There is no competition, right? So development team means QA, developers, deployment engineers. Apart from this, who's there in Scrum team? Scrum Master and product owners, right? Now, what is the relationship between Agile and Scrum? I just straight away started with Scrum. Correct. What is this Agile? What is Agile? There was waterfall model, right? Why Agile? Agility. Have you heard some people saying, hey, that person is so agile, man. I like it. Means what? That person is light, fit. That person is light. So agile means what? Lightweight. So if a product consists of 1,000 tickets, let's say 1,000 Jira tickets, we'll be delivering 10 tickets, 15 tickets, 5 tickets, depends, right? Where? To the customer for this duration. I'll speak about the duration later. So agility is nothing but part by part, we're giving the workable product to the customer. That is why it is called as lightweight and agile. So what is Scrum? Scrum is one of the ways of implementing agile, right? There are so many ways, friends. There is Scrum, which is majorly used, widely used as Scrum. There is Kanban, there is Scrumban, there is extreme programming, all those things. But Scrum is widely used, right? So this is what Scrum is all about. See in the short video. So there will be your team and this is your goal. What is that goal? That is your release or that is your product goal, let's say. And how will you achieve it? Through sprints. I told Agile is a methodology which is lightweight, will give part by part of workable product to the customer. How? We are implementing Scrum. Who and all are there in Scrum team? Scrum Master, Product Owner, the development team, which consists of developer, QA, and the deployment engineers. And how in Scrum are we going to implement? Through sprints. Can you see here, friends? There is sprint 1, sprint 2, and sprint 3 to reach our end goal. Of course, in reality, there are many sprints. For the sake of simplistic explanation, I've just put 3 sprints. But then what is sprint, Ramya? You can ask me, right? Of course, most of us know. Friends, before that, let me ask you, what is your 2 weeks goal? What's your 2 weeks goal, friends? So today, from today, 2 weeks from now, What is your goal? Just one goal, right? What is your 2 weeks goal? Now you can ask me, why are you asking me 2 weeks goal? It can be 1 day goal, 2 days goal, 3 weeks goal, 1 month goal, 6 months goal, or 1 year goal. Why 2 weeks, right? Friends, I'm asking because sprint usually is time boxed for 2 weeks duration. Sprint can go for just 1 week also, it can go for 3 weeks also. Sometimes it will go up to 1 month also. But usually in many organizations, the usual practice is 2 weeks, right? Hey there, my name is Sprint and I usually live for 2 weeks, right? So we'll see what happens in the sprint. But what is sprint? Sprint is a time box duration to reach our sprint goal for 2 weeks. So product goal is there. Sprint by sprint, we are going to achieve it. And what is the duration of sprint? 2 weeks. Now, what Scrum team does in these 2 weeks, right? Okay, I understood agile, lightweight, sprint, 2 weeks. In these 2 weeks, some tickets we are going to get from product backlog. We'll see what is product backlog and all those things to the sprint backlog, and we are going to give it in 2 weeks. But then, fine, this is what we are going to do, right? In this 2 weeks. Of course, we work on tickets. What Scrum team does? They work on tickets, right? Of course, we know this. But now the challenge is this, friends. Which tickets to choose out of so many tickets in the product backlog? Which tickets to choose? But then wait, what is product backlog? First of all, what is product backlog? Right, friends? So the list of items which gives solution to the problem that customer has discussed with the team. Product backlog is nothing but the list. Like for example, if I ask you, what is your plan for tomorrow? You will have your to-do list, right? What is your to-do list? That is nothing but the product backlog. What is the to-do list that has to be completed by the Scrum team in order to achieve the solution that as a software professionals we had promised for our customers? Simple. The list of items to be done. Now, what is a problem statement? For example, if the client says or if the customer says, I want to travel 10 kilometers in 10 minutes in any time of the day. Of course, if somebody travels by midnight, 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., where there is hardly any traffic, 10 kilometers in 10 minutes in car may be a possibility, in bike may be a possibility, right? But then customer has told in any time of the day, let's say 10 a.m., where most of us will be like 9:30 will be going to office, right? Now I understand it's work from home, but still people have started to go to office. There are different organizations, right? So it will be huge traffic. Evening around 5, 6, 7 a.m., huge traffic. Traveling 1 kilometer is so difficult in 10 minutes, friends. But the problem statement is, I want to travel. Customer is telling that they want to travel 10 kilometers in 10 minutes in any time of the day. So as software engineers, as Scrum team, the solution that we are going to give is travel in metro. Metro is very easy, right? We can travel in metro, right, friends? And that is a solution that we give. And how did we arrive at the solution? By taking some items from the product backlog into the sprint, which is called a sprint backlog. But now we have arrived at the solution, right? But hence we decide, but then I told you from product backlog, we're going to take some tickets into the sprint to work on that sprint. But then to decide which tickets to choose for our 2 weeks goal, which is nothing but sprint planning meeting is conducted. Now in interviews, right? Interviewers will ask, what is sprint planning meeting? Simple. There is product backlog, which is nothing but a list of items that we have to complete in order to achieve our product goal, the solution to provide for the customer. But then it's a 2 weeks process, sprint by sprint. But for this 2 weeks, I cannot work on, or as a team, we cannot work on the entire product backlog. Only some tickets we can work. And how will we choose some tickets? We have to sit and discuss. And we are going to do it in a meeting called as sprint planning meeting. Very simple, right? Product backlog, sprint backlog. Some tickets are moved from product backlog to sprint backlog, and this is called as sprint planning meeting. Simple, friends, right? Now, there is another challenge. What is that? How to know that we are moving in the right direction in this 2-week sprint? Fine. In this 2-week sprint, Monday to Friday, Monday we decided, right? Okay, in sprint planning meeting. Okay, let me take 10 tickets in the sprint, just as an example, I'm saying. But first day is over. Now second day came, Tuesday came, Wednesday came, Thursday came, Friday came, Saturday, Sunday off. Again, next week, Monday came, which is the start of the second week, right? But now the question is, how as a team, or how will you make sure that you're moving in the right direction in order to achieve the 2 weeks sprint goal? That is why there is another meeting that will be conducted daily called as daily stand-up meeting. Hence, another meeting was born, which is called as daily scrum, or it's called as daily stand-up meeting, right? This is the second meeting that happens in Scrum. Now, there are 3 major questions that you need to ask yourself, right? 3 questions of daily stand-up meeting to be answered by each person in the development team. Remember, what is development team? QAs, developers, deployment engineers. When the deployment activities happen, he or she can involve, unless and until, it's QAs and developers. And Scrum Master can also involve, product owner can also involve, but they are optional. What are the 3 questions that we need to ask that every stakeholder, QA and developers, have to answer every single day to make sure as a team that we are moving in the right direction in order to achieve sprint goal? 3 questions. First question, did I complete, every individual, right? Did I complete the task that I had planned for yesterday? We need to tell everybody. What is my plan for today? Are there any obstacles? Right? These are the 3 questions. If you are not able to complete the task that you had planned for yesterday, what is the obstacle? Was there any difficulty in understanding the ticket, or you got to know that there is some conflict or some communication gap happened, or you did not get some resource, right? When I say resource, some documentations or something like that, or there was dependency on some person and that some person was not available. Basically, are there any obstacles? That is what you're going to discuss. If there are any obstacles, now there will be another meeting, right? Your stand-up meeting is hardly for 5-10 minutes, friends, right? Because everybody, the entire development team is going to involve here. As I told, Scrum Master and Product Owner are optional. Now, we cannot waste. If I have let's say that there are 2 developers and 2 testers, for an example. So if I have a technical issue, and if I start discussing in that meeting, other 3 people, their time will get wasted, right? So for any obstacle, 1-to-1 discussion can happen, but make sure that you're going to let know other stakeholders that you're stuck here, right? So this is very important. Now, after all, for whom are we working? By sprints, Scrum, Agile, all those things. We're working for our customers, right? Right? We are working for our customers because customer told there is some problem. We told we'll give some solution in the form of a software. We are going to implement Agile, Scrum, Sprint, 2 weeks duration. Everything is fine. But then we are implementing daily. Daily, we are discussing with other stakeholders within the team, right? Are we doing well? Are we not doing well? Are there any obstacles? All those things we are discussing. But then, who's that important person to whom we need to tell, hey, we achieved this goal, man? Customers, right? But then in which meeting will you tell? There is another meeting. You cannot call your customer daily and say, hey, today's agenda I finished. Tomorrow, again, hey, today's agendas I finished. We cannot take our customers' time like that. That is why, to let the customer know that we have achieved the sprint goal, there is one more meeting in this entire Scrum process, right? And that meeting is called as sprint review meeting, which happens at the end of the sprint, right? Maybe the before last day of the sprint or the last day of the sprint. Usually it depends on the organization, project to project, right? Usually this happens. I mean, this will happen. Sprint review meeting. And who will give this? Product owner. What is the sprint review meeting? So product owner is going to demo the working product, right? Which is called as an increment. If somebody asks you, what is the goal, sprint goal, end outcome, right? Or the outcome of a sprint? It's nothing but an increment. What is increment? Increment is nothing but a small piece of the entire list of the product backlog. A small piece is taken into the sprint backlog, which is developed and tested, and a workable product we are giving to the customer at the end of every sprint, which is called as increment, right? So the product owner is going to demo what we have developed and tested in this entire sprint, which is a 2 weeks duration, to all the stakeholders. And customer representative, if he is there, that is a very good idea, right? So customer representative or the customer himself should be there in every sprint review meeting to make sure we tell as software engineers to the customer, see, we are going in the right direction to make sure that we meet the end product goal sprint by sprint. Fine, friends. So sprint planning meeting, first meeting, daily scrum, second meeting, which is of course daily. And the third meeting, the sprint review meeting, which happens at the end of the sprint. But then, friends, do you think life is so easy? We plan something, we execute, and we are done. We met our goal. If life was so easy, then it would have been beautiful, right? All of us would have achieved so many things in life. But there are so many hiccups. There are so many hurdles, friends. Will everything go as planned? No way. Everything will not go as planned, friends. Hence, team needs to discuss what went well in the sprint, what did not go well in the sprint, were there any hurdles? Did we miss something to take into consideration? All these things should be discussed within the team. Did everything go well as planned? Did something did not go well? Were there any hurdles? And did we miss anything to be considered? But then again, where will you discuss all these things? When will you discuss all these things? Right? That is why this person comes into picture. Hey, to discuss all these, I'm there. Okay? You don't worry. And my name is fourth meeting. No, that is a fourth meeting, but the name is sprint retrospection, which is usually done on the last day of the sprint, right? That's very important, friends. Sprint retrospection. So 4 meetings: sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospection. And we saw the questions that we will discuss in sprint retrospection. This usually happens on the last day of every sprint, right? Now, I have a quiz for you. How many meetings are there in Scrum? Usually. Select your option and I'll give you 5 seconds. Do we have 4 meetings in every Scrum? 3 meetings? Just 1 meeting? 2 meetings? Or none of the above, right? Some other number. How many meetings are there in Scrum usually? 5 seconds. Tell to yourself what is the answer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is none of the above. Friends, there is one more meeting. That is why I told none of the above. We got to know what are those 4 meetings. And one more meeting is to solve this challenge. We have one more challenge, friends. Do you know what is that challenge? Do you remember? In sprint planning meeting, we will discuss how many tickets can we put from product backlog to sprint backlog. Correct. But how will you know? For example, if I want to go from, let's take India. If we want to go from Bangalore to Chennai, usually it is 5 to 7 hours, right? Depending on the speed of the bus and the time of travel, right? Usually 6 to 7 hours. But then in sprint planning meeting, how will I know what ticket to put into from the product backlog to the sprint backlog? It's a very important question, right? That is why there is one more meeting. And that meeting is called as backlog refinement meeting. Okay? Backlog. What is backlog? Product backlog. It's nothing but a list of items that you need to complete, implement in order to provide solution for the customer. Simple, right? So product backlog refinement is the act of breaking down and further defining product backlog items into smaller, more precise items. This is an ongoing activity to add details such as description, order, and size. Attributes often vary with the domain of the work. The development team who will be doing the work, when I say development team, QA developers, right? Who will be doing the work are responsible for the sizing. What is sizing? Giving story points. Okay. The product owner may influence the developers by helping them understand and select trade-offs. For example, product owner is going to come and say, hey, customer is asking this feature. This is having the higher business value. Implement this, right? But then as development team, you need to sit and tell, okay, this takes so many days, right? You cannot do 100 tickets in 2 weeks. You need to say how many tickets can be done. And how will you say how many tickets can be done? Based on story points. And how will you give the story points? In backlog refinement meeting, you will give story points. When backlog refinement meeting happens, it is not considered as sprint thing, friends. What do I mean by this? Sprint, I told it's 2 weeks. When I say 2 weeks, Monday to Friday, 10 days actually, because Saturday, Sunday is off. And 1 day is how many hours? In my previous organization, it was 6 hours was considered as 1 day. In my current organization, 8 hours is considered as 1 day, right? So basically, one story point means 10 hours. In some organization, it is 15 hours. Some organization I've seen it is just 6 hours. They're considering as one story point. 2 story points means 20 hours. 3 story points means 30 hours, right? So as a team, you need to decide this ticket requires how many story points. Product owner cannot say, right? Because technically development team and QA team knows, right? So it's the development team who need to give the sizing. Sizing is nothing but give the story points. And how will you give story points? Based on how many hours you people require to develop this. Let's say developers require 20 hours and testers are going to say we require 10 hours, which means 30 hours put together, which means 3 story points. Just as an example, I'm saying, right? And in which meeting do we do this? Product backlog refinement meeting. And who drives this? Product owner. He's going to tell he would have already prioritized from the product backlog list some 10-20 tickets. He would have prioritized, this is what we are going to plan for the upcoming sprints based on the business value that the customer has provided us. Okay, so prioritization of the tickets, it's the responsibility of a product owner. What is the responsibility of developers and QA? To tell how many hours it requires for this ticket to get completed. Okay, so that is what is being done in product refinement meeting. Usually it will be scheduled for 1 or 2 hours every week. Okay, and that is 5th meeting. Now sizing tickets is nothing but giving story points. This is what I told, and this happens during product backlog refinement meetings. Now another challenge is there, right? Okay, Ramya, everything is fine, but how do we give story points? How? There are different ways, friends. Planning poker, Fibonacci series, t-shirt size. This itself is a huge topic, but on a higher level, I'll cover. Okay. So based on the business value, I told product owner will prioritize the tickets in the product backlog. And the product owner is going to tell to the development team, these are the things required for the upcoming sprints. So please give me how many hours you require, which is nothing but give me story points. And the above, those 3 ways are there, and maybe more, but these are the majorly used ways. Right now, out of, let's say, 10 tickets, out of 10 tickets, usually we pick one of the ticket as a reference story, which is easily understandable, which is simple, right? We'll just take that and we'll give 1 story point. Let's say 2 story points or 3 story points for that reference story. Now, with respect to that reference story, which is, for example, 3 story points, 30 hours, right? Developer and QA put together 30 hours. For that story point, for that ticket, 3 story points, right? Now, we'll compare this ticket with the remaining 9 tickets. Totally 10 tickets, right? So we'll say, okay, we'll take ticket 1. This ticket 1 is comparatively, these are the criterias. Okay, this ticket 1 is comparatively easier than the reference story point that we have selected. It is easy to understand, and there is no much uncertainty. It's simple to understand, and there is no much complexity. Hence, the story point can be 1 or 2 hours. Sorry, 1 or 2 story points, which can be 10 hours or 20 hours. We'll take one more story, for example, ticket 6 or 7, and you want to say, this is comparatively more complex to understand. And we don't know, and it's a little uncertain. And the amount of work to be done, for example, logo. How much time you think, friends, to put a logo for developer in a website? But it has to happen in every page, right? Which means the amount of work taken is more, even though it is simple. Which means it requires more time. Simple, something like that. Okay. When I talk about complexity, let's say that there is integration of 3 systems. Like, for example, you need to make an API call. It has to go to one server. That server has to coordinate with another server and fetch the API result. And from the second server, you want to get the final response, which takes time, which is complex integrations of different systems. So it takes time, which means more story points, which means the story points is more than the reference story point, which can be 5 or 7. It depends, right? So this is how we give story points during which meeting? Product backlog refinement meeting, driven by the product owner, given by developers and QAs, which is 1 or 2 hours every week, which is not considered as part of sprint. Okay. Now, let's go further. So now, how many meetings? Sprint planning, daily stand-ups, sprint review, sprint retrospection, backlog refinement meeting, right? Now, do you understand this, friends? Now, do you understand it very easily? There is product backlog. In sprint planning meeting, you put some of the tickets in the sprint backlog based on the story points, and there will be daily scrum. And what is the end goal of a sprint? To provide an increment, which is a shippable, working shippable product, right? To the customer at the end of every sprint. And sprint review will be done where the product owner shows the demo to the customer and other stakeholders. And sprint retrospective meeting will be done where we discuss what went well, what did not go well, what were the hurdles, what are our learnings, and we implement our learnings in the sprint planning meeting for the next sprint. Is this not easy? Just imagine if I shown this at the start itself. What is this? Right? There's nothing, friends. It's very easy, right? So this is Scrum framework, right? So this is all about Agile. If you understand these things, that's enough, right? Of course, there are other things, but on a very high level, not on a deeper level itself. If you understand all these things, you're good to go, and you can tell to yourself that you know Agile. Okay. But now let us see from QA perspective how a QA can work in an Agile environment, right? Friends, QA should be part of all the meetings. All the meetings, it's mandatory for QA because QA has to tell the estimation, right? Which means product backlog refinement. And QA has to, in sprint planning, he should know on what tickets he's going to work. And daily scrum, he has to tell whether what is happening from testing perspective. And then sprint review meeting, he has to be there. How the product owner is showcasing to the client. Is client having any questions? Are there any objections? No, actually, you guys did this way, but I was expecting something else happens from clients, right? So as a QA, it is very important for you to know from the end user perspective, from the customer perspective, what is expectation. That is why you have to be part of sprint review meeting as well. Sprint retrospective meeting, of course, you have to be there, right? I'll talk about sprint retrospective meeting in detail in the coming slides. Hence, this is what it is, friends. Okay. So at least in the 2-week sprints, reserve at least 3 hours for sprint planning meeting, at least an hour for sprint retrospection. So what is this? Let's say 8 hours in a day is considered as a work day for you in your organization. So Monday to Friday, 8 5 are 40. I said 2 weeks. So 40 into 2, 80 hours. In that 80 hours, 3 hours and sprint retrospection, usually 1 hour, 2 hours, depends again, right? So let's say 4 hours goes off. So the remaining 76 hours is what you can plan for your testing. This is what it means. Okay. Now, but product backlog refinement meeting usually happens 1 to 2 hours every week, inclusive of all stakeholders, but you cannot, somehow this is not considered as part of sprint. Okay. This is what it is. Now, friends, sprint backlog, right? So when this happens during sprint meeting, developers develops, right? Okay, now sprint backlog, everything has been put. Now developer will say, okay, fine, I will start developing. I will start writing the code. Now what should the tester do? There is nothing yet to test. So what should tester do? Simultaneously, the tester should look at the tickets, look at the requirement, write test scenarios, write test cases, prepare test data. Very, very, very important. What used to happen usually in waterfall model, testers were not having, because in waterfall model, until the development phase is complete, testing cannot begin. So what testers used to do, some documentation kind of stuff and all those things. Okay. In Agile, it's not the way. When developer says, hey tester, take this ticket, start testing. Nah, that time you cannot have the luxury in just 2 weeks span, which is a sprint, to see what is the test scenario, to write the test cases. You don't have the luxury, friends. Time is really very important in Agile. By the time developer says, hey tester, take this ticket, test, you should be ready with test scenarios, you should be ready with test cases, you should have test data ready for each scenario, each test case basically, right? This is how it is. Caution. Before the developer tells tester to test the ticket, tester should have discussed the scenarios and test cases with the developer. This will rule out a lot of bugs at the start itself. Don't just write the test scenarios and test cases and be quiet. It is your responsibility as a tester to discuss this with the respective developer, whoever is developing the ticket. And you can add Scrum Master and Product Owner also in that meeting. They are optional, and if they're interested and if time permits, they will come. Otherwise, it is a must as a QA for you to discuss the test scenarios with the developer. What happens? The developer would be thinking only from the coding perspective. Okay, fine, I'll be developing all these things. But the moment you discuss different scenarios, oh my God, there are so many scenarios which are not considered while developing. This can introduce a lot of bugs, or many missing requirements can be filled up, right? So this is the time for you to rule out a lot of bugs and decrease the cost drastically as a QA, friends, right? This is a must. Question: can QA blindly accept the code that a developer gives? Of course, answer is there. No way. But you ask to yourself, can QA, developer says, hey, take this ticket tester, start testing. Do you think you can? Okay, developer, I will test. I have the test scenarios ready, which I've already discussed with you. I will start testing. Do you think you can say that? No way. There are certain criteria for you to say, yes, now I will test this build. What is build? Build is nothing but an executable piece of code that developers give you to test, right? You cannot blindly say yes, friends, right? Hence, there are two people, okay? We both exist to tell whether something is ready for testing and something has completed its testing. There are two people. One person will say, hey, this code is ready to be tested. Another person will say, hey, this ticket is already tested. It can go to the next phase after testing, okay? Who are those two people? Entry criteria. Means what? Don't accept the code just like that. Only if it meets entry criteria, then only accept. Exit criteria. Don't tell testing is completed just like that. Only if certain criteria is met, then only tell testing is completed. Right? Very important. Now, what is this entry criteria? Entry criteria for the code or for the build to be accepted for testing is unit testing should pass. Friends, please don't accept the code to be tested until the unit testing is not at all executed. What is unit testing? All those things is a completely different thing, which is more concerned to a developer because it's a white box testing, right? But unit testing should be passed and you can get the report of that. the artifacts of the developers. They can share it with other stakeholders. Unit testing should be pass. Smoke and sanity testing for the new build should pass. What is smoke testing? Environment is up. It is having the right version. It is stable. What is sanity testing? The critical aspects of the functionality. I mean, the critical aspects of the application should be working. For example, take e-commerce website. Login should work. Product, when we search for a product, that should work. Product description. When we click on a product, what is this product all about? What are the characteristics of a product? What is the color, dimension? What are the reviews? All those things, right? It should work. And then when I add to cart, that should work. When I check out, that should work. Basically, the critical aspects of the functionalities, 5-10 minutes, whether you have automation script for that or whether usually for smoke and sanity, I'll just tell you how it works. For smoke and sanity, we already have sanity suite that we would have put in CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment, let it be Jenkins or whatever it is, right? So the moment developer says he pushes his code, integration with the other developer code will happen. And automatically, whenever there is a new build, with the help of some integration, like for example, webhook, right? Between GitHub and Jenkins, that webhook, what it'll do, okay, now there is a new build. Let me run sanity and smoke and sanity on the new build and give the report. So we'll get an email triggered. Okay, so sanity and smoke is passed. That is why automation is important, friends. Please have automation script, at least for sanity and smoke, which has to be run for every build. Okay, let's say that add to cart functionality itself got broke. Waste. Product itself is waste. Checkout cannot be done. Product itself is waste, right? So we need to make sure for every new build. And what is the duration of every new build? Is it like every day or every Monday? That you have to discuss based on the project requirements, based on the intent. I mean, it depends on the project basically, right? Basically, for every new build, sanity and smoke has to be run. Either you do manually or automation. Automation is always recommended because it is super fast. Okay, we cannot take half a day for just sanity and smoke. No, we don't have, right? So this is the entry criteria, friends. By mistake, also don't accept this. I mean, to test the code without these entry criteria being met. Okay. Next, in daily Scrum meeting. Okay, now you start testing. Okay, and in daily Scrum meeting, you need to discuss what are your updates with other stakeholders. Okay, now while testing, we found a defect. Defect is like the cake, right? It's like the cream layer of the cake for testers. We found a defect. Of course, what do we do when we find a defect? Of course, we raise the defect. We give priority, we give severity, and there are so many things, right? Like you give the description, the steps to reproduce, and the images, and whatever. Basically, we give complete explanation in the defect. But friends, very important, make sure you ask for impact analysis from the developer for retesting. What do I mean by this? Let's say module 1 was there. Module 2, you tested module 2. The ticket was all about module 2. You tested module 2 and you found a defect. And now you raised a defect for module 2. But module 1 was working. Okay, no issues. You raised a defect for module 2. But developer, after he fixed module 2, module 1 got broke. Now what we do as testers, we test only module 2. Okay, fine. Now it's no more a defect. Pass. Module 1 is already passed. So we're not going to test that. Module 2 is now passed. Both are passed. Regression, if we miss, gone. Product bug. Now manager is going to come and say, who missed this? Why you didn't test this? Was this not your responsibility as a QA team to test this? You're fired. Fired in the sense, blasted, right? So to escape all these things, make sure that you ask for impact analysis from developers. Friends, we are black box testers. We don't know what's there in the code. We just know that we have to give quality product to customers on time. That's all. So we don't know which file, which line of the code or how many lines he will add or modify or delete in order to fix the bug. Developer himself or herself knows this line or this code can impact what all files, which means what all areas of the application. Developer should tell to you. Now, developer should tell in impact analysis, either as a comment in the Jira ticket or in the Confluence, whatever works for in your project. Because of this fix, all these places in the application have been affected. Now it is responsibility of the tester to test that part of the fix plus partial regression testing on all the affected areas. Now you are making sure if module 1 was broken, hey, module 1 is broken because of the fix for module 2. Please check, reopen the defect. Either you reopen the defect or close the existing defect and open a new defect for module 1, whatever works. Very important for you to ask for impact analysis from the developer. Okay. Now, this is one of the major mistakes that most of us do. We do not include retesting time at all in our sprint planning meeting. We just take new things. I mean, the new tickets and we plan. No, friends, have at least 10% of your time, 10 to 15% of your time, or sometimes even 20%, depends for retesting. Okay. Remember, retesting might include partial regression. Now, what is the exit criteria? Entry criteria we already discussed. By when we can say testing is completed. Exit criteria to tell whether testing is completed. All test cases should be executed. I'm not telling that it should be passed. I'm telling it should be executed. There should be not a single test case with no run, unless and until it is a exception, right? Depending on the situation. All test cases should be executed. Desired and sufficient coverage of the requirements and functionalities and the test should be done. No blockers, no critical bugs, no major bugs are considered. If there are blockers, of course, you cannot say testing is completed. If there are critical bugs, no, testing is not completed. If there are major bugs, testing is not completed. Only things that can be accepted is minor bug and trivial bug. That too, when they can be accepted, only when the priority is less. Let's say Amazon, right? Just as an example, I'm saying Amazon is a company, and the logo of Amazon, for some reason, the logo itself is wrong. Okay, AMAZON. Let's say AMZON. That another A is missing. How do you think a customer will feel if the spelling of the company itself is wrong? Awkward, right? Definitely, that person as a customer, they will not feel like even looking. Spelling itself is wrong. What will this product do? Of course, I get that feeling as a customer if the company spelling itself is wrong, right? So even though the severity is very less, priority is too high. So even though it can be considered, I mean, it becomes a major bug actually. It's not a minor bug, okay? So such cases I'm telling. If the priority is less and if it's minor or trivial, then they can be deferred for fixing in the next sprint. Otherwise, it is a must to be fixed. Otherwise, exit criteria is not met. We have to be very clear for other stakeholders being a QA, right? Now, test artifacts. What are test artifacts? Of course, in daily Scrum, we're telling what is the progress of each tester, right? Artifact is nothing but the documents that we share with other stakeholders to tell whether testing team is going in the right direction or not. Simple. For example, this is one of the things, right? We have this in Jira. Dashboards we create, like how many bugs are created for which module, how many are major, minor, or different priorities, and who raised it as a tester, who raised it, right? Or is it already fixed? How many test cases are run? How many test cases are failed? How many test cases are passed? Are there any test cases which is blocked because of any bug? All these things we'll be putting in Jira, and we'll be, I mean, the lead or the manager will be updating this, or the Scrum Master, right? In this case, they can update this and can share with other stakeholders, right? Maybe twice in every week or once in every week, like the Friday of every week or the Monday of every week. It depends. So make sure as QA, We tell our roadblocks during sprint retrospection meeting. When sprint retrospection meeting happens? When? The last day of the sprint. As QA, it is your responsibility to tell what were the roadblocks. Very, very important. Don't miss this part. Developer, what and all can be the roadblocks for QA, friends? Developer did not give code on time. This affected my testing time. Of course, developer is going to say, product owner told something, or that happened, this happened. For a developer, he is valid. But from testing perspective, we did not get the code on time to be tested. That is why it got delayed. And because of that, I had to execute only the high priority test cases and the medium priority test cases. Maybe I did not get time to execute the low priority test cases. I did not get time to execute the negative test cases. I got time only to execute positive test cases. See, it affected testing, right? Because of a negative thing, who knows? It could have ended up in a major bug. Who knows? But I did not get time to test. Why? This was one of the roadblocks. Requirement kept on changing. This has also happened. Product owner is going to come. Okay, this is not the requirement, do this. Because customer would have told something. Otherwise, requirement will be there. Developer would have understood in a different way. Tester would have understood in a different way. That is why it is very important for a tester to discuss test scenarios and test cases with developers before the testing begins. Okay, or product bug came. Now there is this hot bug. No, it came off during the sprint. Of course, when product bug comes, what to do? You need to halt your sprint execution, take care of the product bug, and then only resume. And the product bug can take half a day, 1 day, 2 days. We don't know. But definitely it's going to affect the sprint, which means you have to do some trade-off. Some low priority thing should be taken out from the sprint. Otherwise, more testers and developers should be added. It depends on the managers how they're going to handle it. Because of product bug, that was one of the roadblocks. And I've worked in companies where for a single product, front end is with one company, front end development is with one company, back end development is with another company. Of course, as a tester, you want front end, you want API also. Otherwise, you can't test. But then you are not getting API. Let's say that using Postman, we wanted to do API level testing to see what is the status of the API, but we did not get the contract itself. We don't know the API itself. We don't know the parameters, nothing, right? And we don't know what is the expected result because it is with another company. That another company is geographically distributed, means that company is in another country. There will be time zone gap. There will be delays. All this will all this will matter, right? Because the time is ticking, friends. This can be one of the roadblock. Technical glitches, like for example, you did not understand some requirement, or automation. Some people are stuck during automation, right? They were not able to know this. Some exception is coming, but they don't know how to handle it. Time will go, right? These are some of the examples, and there can be many more. Make sure that you discuss the roadblocks in your sprint retrospection meetings, which goes as a learning for the sprint meeting of the next sprint. Okay. Finally, what should be the mindset of a tester or as an agile team itself? Because there is no tester or developer, right? I am responsible. Every individual has to tell this. I am responsible to provide quality product to my customer, which solves the problem that was discussed. This gives me immense fulfillment. If this mindset attitude is carried, I promise you, friends, by default, will become more responsible, right? We'll make sure that we get returning customers. We'll make sure that we get fulfillment because we are solving problems, fine? So if there are any confusions regarding whatever we have discussed, and like if there are some questions, please feel free to comment. I will make sure that I'll respond. And we'll continue our series. I'll be coming up with different topics and see you in the next video. For now, bye.